What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Are y'all eating tacos? No? No tacos? What are y'all doing? Hi. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're in the room. Let me know you're present. Share the live. Thanks for always joining us on Tuesday evenings. We have a community member tonight. It's been in the game for over 30 years, or been in around for over 30 years. So we look forward to hearing him. And someone is on time tonight. Yes, we love to see it. Hi.
What's up?
You're on time. I love it.
How are you?
I'm good. It's Tuesday. What did you do today? Or how was your weekend first?
Weekend. Oh, I went to New Orleans. Then I rushed home to go to a pageant.
Mhm.
Then I worked. So I've been at work all day since 6:30 this morning.
Gosh. How was the red dress run for you? Did you run?
I didn't run from that fight. Um,
What fight?
you saw that fight.
Oh, the one that Benny posted.
Yeah, yeah, but no, the Rangers run. I've been there like 3 or 4 years now. This is like my fourth time. But
Mhm.
the Rangers run is amazing. I think that people don't realize that the bars in Bourbon area, they give a percentage of their alcohol fees for the day to the charity also. So regardless if you do the walk or not, you're still adding to the funds that are being given, even if you just go party. But
Mhm.
the Rangers run itself, it was good. It was smaller this year than it was last year.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but it was smaller. But I hate that that fight went viral, that people record these things because that's not cute, but it was a great weekend outside of that one fight. That was a horrible, barbaric fight. But outside of that one fight, it was a great weekend. So I hate that it got kind of overwhelmed by that fight. That fight
Well,
became
it
the
only went
conversation.
viral because people were sharing it. Had
And I
had
don't
I not,
understand
because I
that.
only saw it one time on my timeline from Benny. And so that's why I don't understand how you're a pillar of the community. You are the owner of the oldest black system, and you would promote that foolishness. Like that doesn't make sense. I have no problem with you doing your own personal page, but under the Black America Handle page, a system that I'm a former of, and all of this stuff, 45 years of black excellence. Why would you post something like that under that page? That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody, just period. I don't know why we number one when we share these fights, guys, and this is for any fight. When you share those fights, you are promoting for people to keep recording them and taking them live because they're making money off of it. So
Yes.
when you're sharing it, you're not telling them, hey, this is bad, this is making us look bad. You're telling them, keep doing it. We're gonna help you make money. So that's why I just really wish that we would stop doing that because it makes us look bad, number one. Because I saw two fights there that were non-black. But the thing was, they were not being recorded and people were not sharing it all over social media land.
Right.
So I think that we have to remember that it makes us look bad, and we don't need that, especially right now in the climate that we're in. We don't need any more bad publicity. And someone made a comment and said that well, people probably shared. If you read the post, they may have said something negative about the fighting. I said, but you can say something negative without sharing it. You can say, hey, this is not right. Let's not be overwhelmed by fighting. This is a great charity that we're doing this for. You don't have to share the violation. People acting ignorant and crazy, and they're full of alcohol. I'm seeing pepper spray and all of that. We don't need to be seen in that light. Like, we don't need to be seen in that light. So I would just encourage everyone to not share fights. Like, just not share it because that could be you or one of your loved ones one day. People lose their jobs and their lives because of these lives.
Yeah, that's just really crazy. But yeah, that was stupid to even share it, post it, and share it. But in one breath, you're screaming positivity and community, and the next breath, you're
What
promoting
did you do
division.
this weekend, Queen?
Don't be cutting me off. So, what did I do? So, this weekend, my nephew was christened. So, I was at
Oh,
home with family. I think I posted some of the stuff in his story, in my story. So, yeah, we went and saw little Maverick get christened and given over to Christ. And my
what's his
sister and
name?
I, his name is Maverick.
I love that.
Um, my mom, so my mom, first lady. So we were in her office and she comes. So after the christening, we took him back and they took pictures and stuff with the photographer, her husband and her and him. And then my mom, so she, her first grandchild, they finally got their son. And so she's just so proud. So she comes and gets him and brings him back. So me and my sister, we sitting in her office just chilling, eating candy, like we didn't even study no church. She comes and she's like, that is so disrespectful. Come out of this office and get into the church. like, girl, we is grown. We can actually leave.
Y'all
And so,
were done.
we were like, child, we came for this and honey, listen. But we ended up going there. But yeah, we had a good time with that. And then other than that, I didn't do anything. I came back home actually afterwards. And I didn't do anything. Of course, it's a work week. This weekend coming up, we have so the peoples, myself, Amaya, and Rico will be in South Carolina, Columbia to be exact, at the brunch show with Paris LaFerris or at the review at 1 p.m. So if you're in the South Carolina or you're in the area, you happen to be watching or will watch this by the time we get there Sunday, please come out and support not just us, but that brunch, because I hear that it's very nice and it's something very, very fun to do in the city. Monday, I will be entertaining with the Stars of the Century. Probably do my first crying number over there with them. And then Tuesday, I'll be over at the Mix with Terry Sams and Chris Higgins for the Big Girl 90s show. So we have to do a number from the 90s.
Have you picked what you're doing?
Yeah, I know. I'm doing the biggest hit from the 90s. What do you think was the biggest hit from the 90s? The biggest hit what do you think?
Something
Well,
Mariah
I'm
or
not going to say
Whitney?
the biggest, but definitely I would say in the top 5.
Is it something by Mariah or Whitney?
No, it's actually not.
Oh.
It's a girl group.
En Vogue?
No. Close.
Escape.
Huh?
Escape.
Nope.
SWV.
Close. Very close, though, when you said Escape.
SWV.
Yes. So
Week? Are you doing Week?
Yes. I mean, when you think of the 90s music, that's like one of the first songs that comes to your mind. Because it was still to this day, it's still iconic. So yeah, we'll be there. So I'm in a lot of drag this weekend. It's like really, really kind of scary because
And then Friday, she's going to be in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I'll be in Houston, Texas Friday. Well, will I?
She'll be in Houston, Texas Friday for the Miss Gay Texas US of A final night. She will be on the red carpet talking to the girlies, seeing what they have on, and then she's gonna be popping through the scene, giving us some updates. So that's what's up.
I think that is such a cute idea that you came up with to have like a commentary during the pageant for the pageant, like Miss USA and like Miss America. So I think that's so cute. So hopefully this will go over well, and you all will hire us to come to your pageant system and do that. That could be something new. But yeah, so it's a lot of drag going on over here. And I'm cisgender. I ain't used to all of this.
We're breaking through walls of stereotypes here.
Yeah. But anyway, don't forget, if you are in Chicago Continental weekend, go out and support Flame Monroe at the Black Party. I don't know who's on the show that night. Unfortunately, I was asked, but I won't be in the city. So you can get your tickets online, or you can contact Flame for that. It's her Black Party. Also coming up, of course, it's Duval Plus. We are 40 days away. So if you are interested, 200 plus pounds of competing, contact myself or Rick. Or if you just want to come and support me or the contestants, please do so. Tables are available at $100. They sit 10. Other than that, Renaissance is coming up in November. Baddest Bitch is coming up this Sunday. The Newcomer. So if you want to compete,
good luck to my girl that's getting ready for Duval Plus.
You said what?
I got one of my homegirls I just found out is doing Duval Plus. I'm really excited for her.
Do I know who she is?
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know if you know she's competing, but you definitely know she is.
So yeah, that's coming up Sunday in Tampa. We also have Connor the Prelim with Cheyenne over Supreme in Chicago coming up this Sunday. And I believe Empire will be this Sunday as well in Atlanta. So all of that's going on this weekend.
I thought they just had that.
The Plus and Newcomer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Plus and Newcomer is coming. I thought you was trying to be funny.
No, I didn't know they had.
Oh, look, I got a new sippy cup. So this helps me drink water. I have to have a cup instead of So yeah, isn't it cute? It's my favorite color, purple. So yeah, we got that. And shouts out to Miss Punk News Network. She's in. She's tuning in. Always supportive.
Friend of
Duval
the
Girls
show.
Best Dress. She is sponsored $100 for the best dress at registration. So put on your fit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right. And so we got that. Other than that, I don't have any announcements. It's almost band season, football season, so I can't wait for that. Battle of the Bands next week. Hopefully you're taking me. You know how you get.
The day after Miss Gay Texas US of A final night here at the ballroom at Bayou
Shouts out
Place
to
in
Glam
Houston,
Star for
Texas.
qualifying to go on to be Miss Texas at large. Yeah,
On her way.
on her way. Other than
Crystal
that,
Smith on Facebook if y'all want to find and give her $1.
mishandle it. So yeah, anything else you got going on you need to talk about before we bring on our
No,
guests
it's
at
just
7 o'clock?
we're just busy. So I'm really excited. Busy.
Yes. Oh, and if you all know where I can get the jumbo size Ziploc bags, please let me know because they lied. Walmart lied and said they had them on their website and they didn't, and I had to break down because I really need them. And I had
You
to
talking
go
about the really
across.
big ones?
I had to go across the highway to Target, which we're not supposed to be in Target, but I had to go over there to see if they had them, and they didn't have them. So I need the really big ones, y'all.
They have
Not the
them here.
10. You
They
got
have
them
some
there?
here.
So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I need them because they help when you travel with hair. I can put them in there instead of keeping them out. So, yeah, we're just trying to be organized. I know I have OCD when it comes to organization, time management and stuff. So speaking of time management, it's 7 o'clock. Our guest is coming on. So a lot of you were like, well, why Mark? Well, Mark has been in the game a very long time. And what I mean by been in the game, he is definitely someone that has been behind a lot of our icons. Some of your favorite icons have went through his pockets. Definitely went through some of the preliminaries that he used to hold and pageants that he used to hold. I don't know for what reason he thought he was only coming on to talk about his journey and his fashions. No, you're going to talk about your contributions to the community as well and other things. But we are definitely excited to have him. We like to mix it up, not just our entertainers, but people that have been around a long time and honestly deserve not only their story to be told, but also to be heard when it comes to this art form. So we definitely want to give him his hour or so. So without further ado, I know he's in his closet with all of his clothes hanging, y'all. So be forewarned because I know it's going to be a set up production. So we're going to bring on Mark. Here we go. Oh.
What's going on?
You meant it. You are definitely ready for the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let me put some glasses on so that I can see y'all.
You don't have to
I
put
am
them on. It's
old.
going to mess up your look.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's still giving.
Okay.
So
So
it's still giving.
you're giving us this. So just really quick before we get started, who's in your background? Tell us who's in your background.
So this cobalt blue suit, this is vintage Tom Ford. This black right here, this is by this designer called Julius. Um, it's like this is what I do when I begin to get ready. When I'm going places. I don't just the clothes are not just hanging. This is what I do. But I do have two other looks held to the side, but they are for Black Universe and they are for when the moment happens.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, first of all, we have been doing this show for almost 2 years in January. So we have to have you on. We were supposed to have you on while we were Renaissance, but we kind of pivoted with some things. So I wanted to give you the opportunity. I don't think that people, especially this new generation, know nor understand the person that you are and have been to so many of not just us, but so many that have went on and in the generations above me and above them. So we definitely want to get to some of those conversations later on. But thank you for giving us this time and coming in all of your grandeur and your 5, 6, 7,
well,
8
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Trinity, and thank you, Wendell, as well. I appreciate this.
So anything you want to say, King, before we get started?
No, let's jump in.
Okay. So first question. When you hear your name mentioned with this community as far as being a pillar, what's the first thing that you think of about yourself? Do you agree or do you somewhat humble and be modest with yourself and say, no, not me?
It's crazy that you asked me that question because we were just talking about this. I think I'm humbled. As big of a personality as many people think I have, I really don't like the spotlight. I don't like it at all, actually. I prefer to be behind the spotlight and guiding the spotlight as opposed to being in the front of it. So the first word would probably be humble.
Okay. All right. Great. So let's take us back. A lot of people don't know you're from the magical city. Talk to
I
us
am.
about life growing up as Mark. What was life for you in Birmingham before you became this entity and this fashion icon that you are, and before you even came into this community? Talk to us about life growing up in Birmingham.
Well, I was born in Birmingham. I come from a family of five children. I am the baby. There were four boys and one girl. Unfortunately, all of my brothers have passed away. I lost a brother in 1981. My brother Antonio, who's an identical twin, he was murdered in 96. And his identical twin brother, my brother Anthony, died of a stroke in 2010. Um, was raised in what we considered in the 70s, a middle class family. My parents divorced when I was five. Um, I had a tumultuous uh, background. My father was he was not the best man in the world. Let's say it like that. But my parents divorced when I was 5 years old, and we left there. And when my parents divorced, my mother had to take on two jobs, and we moved to public housing. And I lived in public housing for many years, my adolescent years, and uh, doing elementary school. And that's when I began to dream. So, but I'm sure we'll touch on that going forward. But that's when I began to dream when we lived in public housing. And then I went to, ultimately, my mother sent me to live with my father. I went to Gardendale High School. I graduated from Go Rockets. Woo! I graduated from Gardendale High School in 1989. I excelled academically. I was a good student. Um, Believe it or not, I was very shy. I was very timid because I was sheltered. My mother tried to keep me from all of the things that would happen living in government housing. She just didn't want, because of the way that my brothers ended up doing things, selling drugs and so on and so forth. My mother just didn't want me to be that particular person. So,
Okay. So in Gardendale High School, or before you went to Gardendale, what were things that you did like around high school time? Were you involved in things, or you were just completely sheltered from that too?
well, no, I wasn't sheltered. Trinity, my love of fashion started at a very early age.
Okay.
To be specific, I can look at and I can tell you timelines. I was 9 years old. Um, my grandmother lived in Smithfield Projects, which was probably
Mm-hmm.
about a mile away from where we lived at. So
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother lived in Smithfield, and my mother would allow me to walk over to my grandmother's house. I was an avid reader, so I would stop at the Smithfield Library, which sat on the corner across the street from the projects. But I would sit in the window of the three stories that we lived in, and I would indulge myself from the age of 9 in fashion magazines. My very first fashion magazine, my grandmother, uh, you may not remember this because I'm a bit older, but when Woolworths and Newberry's were still open downtown Birmingham, we used to have newsstands. And my grandmother and I, we walked down 8th Avenue because I had a lawnmower. And I used to go on what we call on top of the hill, where Greymont Elementary was. And I used to cut grass. And when I would cut grass, I would take the money and I would save the money to be able to buy fashion magazines. And the very first fashion magazine that I bought was a Vogue magazine.
Okay.
And then we fast forward to the age of 12, and I began to see a vision that made me want to love and uh, hold on to fashion, and that was Andre Leon Talley, and that was in 1983. And that was when Karl Lagerfeld began to head the house of Chanel, and Andre Leon Talley came into Vogue magazine. And when I saw his image, I knew then that I was going to love fashion. Um, I was very stylish in high school, best dressed. You know, some people may not know. I had girlfriends all the way up until I left going to college. I actually dated. We had high school fraternities called
Mm-hmm.
Alpha and Phi Alpha. I was a part of Phi Alpha. Um, I dated a young lady. Her name was DeKeith Chambers. Her family owned Chambers Funeral Home. We dated until I graduated from high school. Um, and then I had a very interesting I had a very interesting childhood. Like I said, there was some tumultuous parts, but I don't want to go too much into that because it makes me emotional, even though I am in therapy.
Right, understandable. Shouts out to Flame. She's on. She says, "Hi, Mark." So because you started so young with your fashion journey, your vision, were you involved in anything fashionable through high school? You know, like the fashion shows, or maybe sewing, or anything like that. Was that available for you?
Actually, well, I mean, well, my first, which a lot of kids are not familiar with, we had home economics during the time when I was growing up. So that was my first. I used to sew. I used to, hem and take in jackets, and that was my first inclination. And then when I was a kid and I would make all of this money, we had Позits and we had Parisians, and we had this clothing line called Genera. And I would go and I would spend my money from cutting grass and everything. And I started this. What I do now, hanging the shit up, I started that very early. I was very particular, which I am still now, like yourself. I am very organized. And some would say that I'm kind of like anal retentive because I'm so meticulous when it comes to detail. I've worked with you. You know that I am very detail oriented. Um, and it's I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but yeah. When I grew up as a kid, I delved into that. I would do fashion shows. And then when I made it to college, they had what you call the sepia models. I went to well, my first semester was done down at Stillman College. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know him. His name is Rodney High. Uh, he was a part of the sepia models, and they would have big fashion shows and everything. And this is when I had an opportunity with the Ebony models and everything. They would come on campus and do the fashion shows, and I was a part of all of that. So it's always been intertwined in my life in some capacity. It's always what I wanted to do. Um, but of course, I took some wrong paths. But I'm sure we'll delve into that, which kind of like deterred me for a little while. But yeah, it's always been a part of my life.
So
Always.
was fashion you know how a lot of times when you see a person that is fashionable, you're like, oh yeah, I got that from my mom, my dad. They kind of, was that your truth, or were you the only one that was kind of fashionable that kind of broke out, or did that come from your parents?
Well, my grandmother, she
Okay.
was very. We had this store in Birmingham. It was called Blackman's. It was the store with um, black folk shop who were the upper echelon. But my grandmother, who was domesticate, we would go down to the store. And of course, then we had what you call colored folks, and she would have to enter through the back. Um, and she would buy all of these fine hats, and I would go to church with her, and she would dress me up. And again, I've always been a very stylish person. I was very particular. I wanted to smell good. I remember I used to wear what's the name of that cologne? I can't think of the name of it, but I would pile that shit on because I
Mhm.
was, I just always just looked at image as it was just so important. And then Trinity also and Wendell, I wanted to remove myself as far away from poverty as I possibly could. So these were the ways that I did it. You know, I don't know if it was like an imaginary thing or what it was, but I would dress myself up to kind of like remove myself as far away from what looked like poverty as I possibly could. So style brought me that.
Mhm. So you are dressing nice, you are smelling nice. Obviously, let's be clear, you're looking nice. Was your sexuality ever an issue through school? Because here you have a
Um,
fashionable boy or young man, so that typically always correlates to he's this, he's that. How did that
right.
work?
Well, it did. I was called the gay boy in school, but again, I kept a girlfriend, and I always kept the most popular girlfriend, the prettiest girlfriend. So I used that as a thing to keep people from really just picking on me. Um, because I was during elementary school. I didn't talk about this. I was picked on because I was different. I mean, what 9 and 10-year-old boy do you know that was loving a fashion magazine? You know, when I lived in the projects, which was during that particular time, the projects was really the projects. So you had these guys. Here I am. I stayed in the house all the time, and then when I would come out, people would pick at me because you know I knew I was different, but I just couldn't put my hands on it. And my mother and them, fortunately, my grandmother, they always kind of like um, they encouraged this talent that they knew that I had. We just didn't know where it was going to go, but they always encouraged it.
Okay, that was my next question. With you being brought up in the 70s and 80s, you know how families, especially Black families in Southern Birmingham, how was that when you are not playing football, you're reading Vogue and you're going to dress nice? How was that for you? But you just answered. They encouraged it. How did your dad feel about it though?
Well, this is crazy. I tell everybody this. What is really weird, my father is a hypermasculine male. He's a typical man that was during that time, good times and all of that. He is that man. But the one thing I can honestly say, even through my tumultuous childhood, the way that him and my mother clashed with each other, he never made me feel like the gay boy. Like I was able to be myself, but I've never been flamboyant or like flashy. Like I've always been a guy that even in my style as an adult, I was able to kind of like navigate through what we consider to be heterosexual spaces. I'm the stylish guy, but I never was one of those, oh girl and Miss Thing. I've never been that dude.
Okay,
Um, nah.
and that's
So my
carried
dad
over
was
to you
pretty cool.
now.
Uh,
That's carried over to you as an adult now. You don't even do that now. So
Oh no, 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 no. And I don't, I'm sure you see the jokes and stuff that I talk about that kind of stuff all the time. I make a joke out of it. I have no problem with it. That's just not me. It's just not who I am. You can't call me girl and Miss Thing I don't respond to that type of stuff.
right, King, anything?
Well, I do have a question. So, when you were just going back to your grandmother, did you ever find yourself like giving her advice on things to wear, or like giving her like, oh, you should wear this hat, or you should wear that suit? Like, did that ever happen when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Wendell. It happened actually a whole lot. I was the go-to in my family, period, about what should I do, what color should I paint the wall, what kind of curtains should I hang. I was just
Mhm.
always that particular guy because again, people knew that there was there was this abundant creativity in me. Um, but again, being a child of the '70s and going to grammar school in the '80s, they just didn't know what to do with it
Okay.
because we were living in different times, as I said. And then,
Okay.
like I said, and I remember those days specifically in '83 when Andre came to Vogue and I saw him, I was like, damn. And this is why to this day, I believe that representation is extremely important because it changed the whole narrative of my life. And then when I saw Karl Lagerfeld, when he began to head the House of Chanel, clearly he was a gay man. And it was just like this representation, like, okay, it's okay. And then as I began, I think that I stayed, and I don't even think that I was like in the closet or anything. I think I just stayed in that line because I wanted to be able to make sure that I protected myself and that I didn't have any type of problems because we talking about times where, gay boys got chased down the street and got beat up.
Yeah.
So I didn't never want to be in that type of space.
Okay. So before we move on, why do you have such a disdain for the city that not only birthed you, but made you the person that you are today?
Well, I knew you was gonna ask me that.
Of
Man, you've
course.
had this conversation
I
before.
was gonna say I didn't know
Um,
you had a disdainment. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
yes, I
Yes.
do. Yes, I do. So we'll again, Birmingham is an image, and I learned this in therapy. Birmingham is an image of me of 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 no progress, poverty, a broken home, a physically abusive father, the death of three brothers, um, just so many things. Of course, my life of crime, being a white collar criminal. So I promised myself when I left that if I had a choice, that I would never return and that I would never be a part of that. And it's really those type of things. I don't. Birmingham is not progressive for me. I don't look at it as a place where a guy like me could become all that he wanted to be. Do I believe that I could have touched it? Yes. But become all that I wanted to be? Absolutely not. And I look at a lot of the people that I know, and I mean no harm when I say this, you know, where I left them, that's where they still are. And I just didn't want to be that person. And I knew that had I stayed in Birmingham, that that would be a part of my life. I left Birmingham when I went off to school and I stayed a semester in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Then I left there and then I came here to Atlanta for school and, you know, life of crime, getting in trouble, you know, ultimately having to, you know,
Mhm.
school said, no, ma'am.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
that's why that's the this thing. And Trinity, I'll tell you, and Wendell, I'll tell you this. When my mother passes, I'll never go back again.
So can I say something?
Go ahead.
So I don't.
Wait,
I
you
so
asking, can you say something on your show? You asking me, can you
well,
say
I mean, because I didn't know if you had another question that you were
no, go
ready for.
ahead.
But I don't.
Hmm.
I understand what you're saying completely. I don't. I think that when you say disdain, people may take it wrong because what I heard from you is that you're triggered by so many things
Exactly.
when you
Exactly.
go there. So you're so triggered by it. So mentally, it's not safe. You feel unsafe.
Exactly.
So I get it. I completely get that.
Yes.
It's definitely still a disdain.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I mean, it
you know,
becomes that, but you know.
I have a love hate relationship with Birmingham,
Hmm.
more hate than love, because I have some amazing memories. I made, you know, one of my best relationships that I ever came in, friendships, is in Birmingham. My mother's in Birmingham. My sister is in Birmingham, who I love dearly. People don't hear me talk about her. We're extremely close. But again, those things, the death of my brother being murdered, um, you know, losing my brother Michael at the age of 10, um, then losing my brother Anthony to a stroke. Um, it just felt like these demons were there. And I'm trying not to get emotional. Um, and I wanted to be something more. I really wanted to be something more. And I
Okay.
felt like that was just not the place to be that.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
that's
So
fair.
now you have graduated high
Child, let me
school.
tell you, hold on, child.
Oh. So you've
It is a
now,
cocktail.
it's
Go ahead.
fine. You are now in college and you're now in Atlanta. Talk to
Hmm.
us about life now that you have hit Atlanta. Take us through that journey of everything that happens.
Well, Atlanta changed my fucking life.
Huh?
Um, I learned how to be a white collar criminal here. Um,
Okay, so hold on, stop there. You learned how to be a white collar criminal. Explain that to somebody that might not know what that is.
okay, well, as many people may or may not know, I did do federal time. Um, I did identity theft. I did bank fraud. Um, Many people who know me from the past know that I was a major hitter and player, and we're going to get into how that all led into the you know my support in the community. Um, and I learned all of that here in Atlanta. I came to Atlanta after I left Stillman College. I came and I did a semester in Morehouse. I got locked up. Uh, the Disney store actually used to be in the underground, Atlanta. I caught a case there. I was locked up for quite some time. And of course, after being locked up quite some time, I ended up having to leave school. Ultimately, I got what you call youthful offender. Um, Came back. Um, and I had this thing again, going back to my childhood, what Wendell just asked me. There were so many triggers in Birmingham. Everything that I did, I wanted to remove myself away from poverty. So that meant the more money that I made, the more elaborate that I lived, it separated me from that life that I knew as a child. Um, and it was, and still to this day, it still affects me to this day. I've talked about it so many times in therapy. Um, but Atlanta just changed my life. And then ultimately, what I did was after I got out, there was a few months past. We used to have a fashion institute of Atlanta that was here in Atlanta. Um, I got in school. Um, I wanted to go into fashion design and etc. Lo and behold, guess what happens? I get in trouble again. Um, Still out here doing what I do. So after that particular time and I came out, school just became one of those things that just wasn't going to happen. And I became a full-time criminal.
So were you even introduced to that? Do you remember or?
Oh, absolutely. 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 What I'm not going to mention because uh, everybody knows their name on here. So I'm not going to mention their name, but I met someone here in Atlanta, and this is when we used to climb on the trucks and steal the boxes of checks.
Oh,
And yeah, and that's how it all started. Um, and one thing led to another. I just learned the game and what to do, and just like everything that I do in life, man, I want to be the biggest and the best at it. You can't tell me that when I start something that I'm not going to be really, really good at it or not. I'm not going to be the boss in doing it. And even in the life of crime, you know, I had put this thing in my mind that I was going to be like almost like a John Gotti. Like I was going to be invincible. I was going to have all of this stuff. I was going to have all these people that work for me, and I was going to have so much money that I couldn't even begin to count. And at some particular point before the feds came to me in 2005, I was living that life. But 2005 is when my life began to change. And ultimately in 2010 is when, 2009 is when they took me into custody. 2010, I was sentenced to federal prison and I did 25 months. I paid my debt to society. I did my time in Forest City, Arkansas. Actually, T.I. and I were locked up together. And I did for aggravated identity theft and I did it for multiple cases of bank fraud.
How long were you in the white collar crime? How long did you do?
19 years.
19 years. So in
19
19
years.
years, did you ever feel like I'm not gonna get caught, or did you know one day it could possibly happen?
Oh, I felt like I was invincible because I would hire the best attorneys and, I would always get these cases knocked down to misdemeanors. And I always avoided, you know, when they were trying to pass out, because at that particular time with a check, it was called negotiating a worthless negotiable instrument. And at one particular time, uh, during my friendship with Yasmin, we were in the Galleria Mall, me, her, and Chris. Um, um, aka Estelada.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 57 cases of negotiating a worthless negotiable instrument.
oh my God.
And my picture was in the Galleria Mall. This is when the Galleria Mall had first opened. We're talking about in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was early in those years, and I was followed by security. And ultimately, um, I was arrested. They took us upstairs. And when they took us upstairs, of course, they let Yasmin go because we were just out there. They let Yasmin go. They let Chris go, and they kept me in custody. And they took me to Jefferson. Again, this is why my disdain for Birmingham is what it is. And I ultimately went to the county jail, and I was locked up in Jefferson County Jail for fighting the cases for 9 months, trying to fight from going to state prison.
So what all of this time and all of the cases you were catching and getting put out of school, not making it through school, 19 years, what did your family have to say about all of this? Because I know your mama was not happy.
Well, she was very disappointed. She was very disappointed. But again, being somebody who was raised in the hood, my mama's a ride or die bitch. She had two sons that sold dope. Then that was me who did went a different direction, and then I skipped something because I left in the early '90s and I moved to Chicago. And I stayed in Chicago for 5 years. I met my then boyfriend Steven, who was the very first um, time I had an experience with a long time relationship. But and that was during the time that my brother Antonio was murdered. And that's how I ended up coming back down south from Chicago because Chicago was a safe haven. And again, me being the criminal that I was, I would learn the laws. And see, in Chicago, we didn't have like bail bondsmen and all of that. So I was in more of a safe space when it came to these crimes. They were giving you like slaps on the wrist. But when I came down south, back down south, this is when they started doing the motherfucking thing with me.
Um, when I first came out in the 04, 05, 06 area, you were in Birmingham. Everyone knew Mark.
hmm
And you had to have Mark on your team. And Mark was this and Mark was that. And you was extremely, extremely pompous and arrogant and just
Absolutely.
yeah, and rightfully so. You was the man.
Right.
You traveled around the state. We had a guest on, and I'm more than sure you know who they are that you used to date, and said that one of the reasons why a lot of things happened to them was because y'all were dating. Do you felt like you hindered some people in their lifestyles because you were
Well,
with?
I don't know who you're talking about. So if you told me, then I'll kind of like,
Okay. Okay. Well, the question is, do you feel like with you doing your lifestyle, with your lifestyle of crime, did you hit, was other people affected in that with you? Were other people going with you to jail or anything, or was you just solo by yourself?
absolutely, there were people that were affected. I mean, it goes without saying when you're committing crimes. I
Mhm.
mean, when you become a boss, you know, there are other people that are going to be affected. At some point in my life, Trinity, I was feeding folks. You
Mhm.
know, um, I was the supplier. I was the supplier of the identification. I was the supplier of the credit cards. I was the supplier
Mhm.
of the checks. So people came to me. I had elevated from going in the store doing this. I had elevated to the point of you go out there and do it. You bring me some money, and whatever you need to keep, baby, you keep that. So of course, there were people that were affected by me, whether it be friendships, whether it be personal relationships. Um, they were. Um, I did some damage. I did some damage to my family. My mom would have to constantly put her house up, but my mom had this thing of I was her baby, and she wasn't gonna let me sit in jail no matter what. Um, I would have people that weren't really familiar with those type of crimes that because they wanted my support, that they would take things back to the store for me, and be a part of, you know, uh, this thing that what I call that I was building. Um, but the other side, the flip side of it, Trinity and Wendell, is that although I affected lives, I made some lives too. You know, I paid a plenty of bills. Um, I was the go-to man when somebody got in trouble and they needed some financial assistance because I had it, family and all. So there were pros and cons, you know. And when you live that type of lifestyle, um, you know, ultimately when you look back on it, you do understand how it affected other people. But when I was in the midst of it, all I was thinking about was I wanted this lifestyle. I wanted the cars. I wanted the homes. I wanted the furniture. I wanted the clothes, and I wanted the money in the bank. Whatever happened in that process, that wasn't really like something that I gave a lot of thought.
Gotcha.
You know, when I was
So
crawling up on the trucks and stealing checks and all that, I wasn't worried about, you know, the white folks that was over in Vestavia and Mount Brook, whether or not their children's college funds were being affected. That was the least of my worries at that particular time. I was able to make, you know, hundreds of, you know, well, I was just able to make a whole lot of fucking money,
Yeah.
and
When,
that was all I was concerned about.
when it all came to a head and you ultimately had to do your time, or even the little small time that you did in between, were those people you were feeding and helping and dressing, were they there for you? Were they sending money? Were they calling, or were they answering your calls, writing you?
You want me to be transparent?
Well, of
yeah.
course.
Absolutely. Not everybody.
Right. Okay.
Not everybody. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because that time is over with.
Right.
But
Yeah.
not everybody. What I was to, and to this day, it bothers me. What I was to people, they've never been it to me.
Hmm.
So how
I
do
was
you
a,
go ahead? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was a cash cow.
So,
Yeah.
like
Hold
going
on,
back
Wendell.
to
Let me
what
ask
you
him this off of that. How are you with those relationships now?
Um, I've matured a lot,
Mhm.
so I know how to. I know how to protect myself.
Okay.
I know how to protect myself now.
Mhm.
Some relationships are not the same.
Mhm.
Um, and that's not to say that they're bad. You
Mhm.
know, I've grown. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm legal now, so I serve no purpose to a lot of people anymore.
Mhm.
Um, so therefore, there were times when I was away that I wish that I would have received a letter, um, a card, when I came home and I was at my worst and my lowest financially. Um, I wish that there would have been people that have been like, you were this to me, here you are. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
Mhm. What do you feel? Oh, Wendell, you had a question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, no, it was more about what you said about when you were a child and how you tried to get far, far away from what you saw as poverty. Do you think that subconsciously that was fueling this entire um build, that this mafia like thing that you feel like you were creating? Was that, you think subconsciously you were still racing against, away from what you thought was poverty?
Oh, absolutely. 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 Um, that was the whole purpose. Um,
Mm,
to remove myself as much as I possibly could and to go. And still to this day, that's my thought process. And this life that I live and the things that I do, it's let me remove myself as far away in my style, everything away from what is associated with poverty, as far away as I possibly can.
Okay.
mm.
What
Yeah.
would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned from that entire situation of white collar crime, 19 years having to do Fed time? What would you say is the biggest thing that you learned?
Um, that everybody that say they're your friend ain't your friend.
Gotcha.
And everybody that celebrates you don't want you to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
I learned that people love you when you're on top, and when you on the bottom, they'll take their feet and they'll wipe their feet on you.
Okay.
I've learned that. It's been a hard lesson to learn, and it was an emotional roller coaster for a long time because I thought that some relationships that I had formed um, over the years, that they would sustain. And I'll talk about this particular one. Uh, I had formed a relationship with Natasha Braxton,
Mhm.
and when I went to federal prison, many people know that we were the closest of friends. And when I went to federal prison, um, I don't know what she was going through her life, but um, I just felt like just writing me a letter wasn't enough.
Okay.
It wasn't enough. And I believe that the sacrifices that I made, because I sacrificed something bigger than most people sacrifice. I sacrificed my freedom. It's a lot of them bitches that went on that stage. They became who they was because of me, because of my financial contribution, But then after that, I became, oh, child, he wasn't nothing but a check writer. Oh, he was this and he was that. But that was a lesson learned, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take a break right here and we'll get to know Mark on a personal level, some of your favorites and stuff. So, favorite color?
I love metallics. I love metallic golds, more of a muted gold. I love bronzes. Um, and I love leopard print.
Mhm. Leopard print.
Yeah.
Got it. What is your favorite machine in the gym? Because we see that you're a Jimmy now every day. So, what is the favorite thing you like to do in the gym?
Um, Favorite exercise machine.
Machine or exercise, whichever one. What do you just love?
Um, I love doing flat bench press. I love chest.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, I like just to kind of like expound just a little bit.
Hmm.
I have this thing. I know you're gonna find this to be humorous, but I have this thing when it comes to when I entertain gentlemen callers
Oh,
that I like
it's how
that
you said it.
I love for men to squeeze my pectoral. I don't know what it is or where it came from, but I love it.
Okay. What's your
Okay.
favorite season to celebrate?
Oh my
I know.
God, I love winter and fall. It's the style time.
Mhm.
I believe that that is the time that it separates me from everybody else.
Okay. Besides your birthday, what's your favorite holiday?
Um, I love Christmas.
Christmas. Okay.
Yes, because I like giving. I like giving gifts,
Mhm.
and
Biggest
that's
fear.
why I'm a great gift giver. Huh?
I heard. I heard. Your biggest fear.
Being poor.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Biggest pet peeve.
Um, well, it's a couple,
Okay.
but
You can share more than
um,
one.
okay, but the one that stands out the most is that people who are last minute.
Mm.
Oh, it bothers me. Me and my son, Ian, we clash on this
Mhm.
because I am in preparation for everything. Again, the Look for Black Universe is already in the making, and that's not until October. I believe in me. You've had this conversation.
Mhm.
Preparation is everything. It separates it separates the win and the loss. And we're not just talking about from pageantry, just in life. Preparation is extremely important. And when you prepare to win. But when you don't prepare, you prepare to lose. So people not being preparing, it bothers me tremendously.
At your age now, what makes you cry?
Um, Anytime that I think about my stepfather, um,
Mm.
I get emotion. Um, Here we go. He he was the greatest man that ever lived in this world.
Hmm.
He changed my life. If it wasn't for him buying me that fucking lawnmower, I wouldn't be the man that I am. It was
Gotcha.
the start. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite food to eat?
Girl, I love pasta. And
Okay.
it's the worst thing in the world for you because
It
it's
is.
carbs.
That's why I'm like, okay, now, what you doing?
I know that's right.
Okay. Three things you know that you can work on about yourself.
um, my delivery. Um, um, the thing of not being so hard on myself,
Mhm.
which always, like Wendell said, it goes back to my past. Um, and I don't know if because I'm so damn driven, it's so damn ambitious, it's a gift and a curse. But
Mhm.
sometimes I wish that I was kind of like in that cusp, that
Mhm.
I wouldn't be so hard in that area on myself because I am a man who wants it all.
Mhm. When you're packing your suitcase, what's the first thing you pack?
Underwear.
Okay. All right. Um, if you could be best friends with any celebrity, male or
Hold on.
female, who would it be?
I lost you. Hold on.
Okay. Somebody must have called you.
Hold on.
Can you hear me? I can't. We can't hear you. Please don't call him, guys.
Okay, then. No. It's on
Oh,
D. Can you hear me now?
okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I can take these out. Go
Okay.
ahead.
What was it? Oh, if you could be best friends with any celebrity, male or female, who would he or she be?
Celebrity.
Yeah.
Uh, My boyfriend, Chris Brown.
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
love him, girl.
Think back on all the decades. Solely off of fashion, which decade is the best to you?
Oh, the 70s. Absolutely.
The 70s. Okay.
Absolutely. That's when men dressed their best. They were stylish. The cuts of clothes, the lapels, the 70s have impacted today's fashion. Definitely the 70s. No, not a doubt, not a if, ands, and buts about it.
If you could change anything about the world's climate right now, what would it be?
The people, we've had this, well, I don't want people to know because we talk a lot, but
A lot.
it would be that people wouldn't be so fucking sensitive. Like you can't say anything now. Everything you say is it's blown out of proportion. So that I would change that.
Okay. We'll talk about that a little later. What is the one thing that you would necessarily want to redo in life if you could?
I would want to go back to school. If you recall, I made a post and you came on and you just like, it's never too late. I would want to go back to school. A lot of people don't know this, but my life's dream when I was a kid growing up in the projects, we used to sit at the corners and we used to play this game called bingo.
Mm-hmm.
And when we used to play the game bingo, because of how smart I was, they called me quote unquote the Michael Evans of the ghetto. So I wanted to be an accident attorney.
Oh,
yeah,
I can definitely see you being an attorney.
Yes, girl. Because all my mind I thought was, baby, that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm. Favorite TV show growing up?
I have a couple. Of course, Good Times. All in the Family. I can sit up and watch All in the Family, and of course, The Cosby Show.
Okay. Favorite movie of all time? Something you can watch over and over again and not get bored of it.
Oh, The Color Purple and The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, both of mine. Both of my two favorites. What do you feel is your passion in life?
Fashion, style. It's my identity. It's who I am. If you know, again, it makes me emotional. If I didn't have it, I don't know what I would do.
Okay.
I don't know what I would do. It's my entire life, and the common misconception is it's not for people. It's for me. It's what brings me joy.
So you can only pick one. So be very, very mindful. Who is the best brand of all time?
Oh God, how could you do that to me? My favorite designer of all time. Well, it's two, but you said only one.
Only one.
Would be Alexander McQueen. God rest his soul. So we lost him in 2010.
So just give us the second one, just because.
Well, I did an ode to him at Black America this year, Karl Lagerfeld.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk fashion, because I know you're going to love this segment. You are definitely noted as someone that he can dress. He has the labels. You post about it. We see it all the time. You're very meticulous in the things you wear. You always tell me all the time, it's the garment, it's the fabric, the undergarments that we wear. Everything doesn't have to always be expensive. All of that. Why is fashion such a passion for you? Where some people may look at it as like it's just clothes, but you really, really take it uber serious. So much so you got into arguments over it, you got into debates over it.
Absolutely.
Why is this thing called fashion such a big entity in your life?
Well, again, going back to childhood, the separation from poverty, and again, Christmas being my favorite holiday. The wrapping and the packaging is everything. It is the beginning of the presentation. And I also as well believe that what is under the fashion is what starts the feel good moment. You and I have had this conversation. Undergarments. It starts. It's not, people can't see it. And they don't have to see it. But it's the way that when you put on your best music, your Phyllis Hyman, your Anita Baker, and you're getting dressed, and you slip in your most beautiful underwear and your most beautiful bra, it just starts a whole process of how you feel. Again, I could not imagine my life without it. It is my identity. It is who I am. It encompasses everything that I've ever wanted to be. When I leave this world, I tell my kids all the time that what you do with this stuff is none of my fucking business. And I will buy stuff and never wear it, but it's the beauty and it's the art. I think that you've embraced this about me because you're always sending me videos of fashion shows, and style and everything. It's just, I can't really put it into words, but.
So, because it's your identity and because you love it so much, I'm gonna play some games with you, and I want you to talk
yes,
about
ma'am.
First of all, who would you say is the worst dressed celebrity?
So when you say celebrity, someone in the spotlight?
Yes.
La Roche.
And what's so interesting about that? Isn't he a stylist
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
He just had
a great opportunity. That's all.
Who would you say
with
is the
Celine
best?
Dion?
Who would you say is the best dressed celebrity?
Well, I have a couple of people that I love right now.
Go ahead.
This is probably going to be odd, but Tracy Ellis Ross. I love her style. I love Janelle Monáe. And of course, everybody knows that I love Cardi B.
Okay. All right. So, when you think of Gianni Versace, what is one of the things that is memorable about him and or his house to you?
The textiles. I am fortunate enough to be able to own several pieces with his name in the back, the actual label, because they no longer say Gianni Versace, they just say Versace now. So I'm privileged enough to be able to own one of my favorite pieces. Actually, is a quilted piece that I wear every winter. That's one of my favorite pieces. That's what his textiles. There was not a male designer in this world that had that for the textiles and the fabrics like Gianni Versace. He was in a league of his own, gone too soon. He was, again, if I could have elaborated on others as more designers, he was actually one of my favorites as well. That was actually one of my very first designer pieces that I wrote a check for in Bird Goodman's.
From a fashion standpoint and a person that studies fashion, do you feel, because of course we watched the movie, do you feel that when he passed and the sister took over, that diminished the brand? Or
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that Donatella Versace is a disgrace to the Versace brand, personally.
Even to this day, or just during a time period?
Well, of course, she stepped down now. But I just believe, in general, Gianni was the mastermind of Versace, and I believe that when he died, the brand was no longer pure luxury. It became more of a trend. Even when you had people like the Biggie Smalls and all of these rappers and everything, it was still beautiful fabrics. But when Donatella took over the house, it just, she never did. And and I haven't bought a piece of Versace since.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm.
Do
And
you?
wouldn't.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I said, and I wouldn't.
Oh. Do you feel? Oftentimes we hear that Jackie Kennedy Onassis changed the look of what a president's wife should look like because of Coco Chanel. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. But I also, there was another first lady that a lot of times people don't. She was heavy into Chanel, was Nancy Reagan.
Okay.
Nancy Reagan wore a lot of Chanel, so she also was a part of that transition. But definitely, Jackie O was in she was in a league of her own, but with the help of a woman. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Name was Maria. She was an opera singer. And Aristotle Onassis had an affair with her. But she was extremely. Are you familiar with her, Wendell?
No.
They did they actually Angelina Jolie played her in a movie not too long ago. I would recommend you guys go and watch it. It's on Netflix. But she was beyond fashion, beyond what Jackie Onassis was.
Okay. What is your take on Dapper Dan?
I don't know why you put me on these spots.
We're talking fashion.
I know it. I like his contribution to the urban community. Can we leave it at that?
Okay. We can
I
definitely
get it. I understand.
we can definitely leave it at that.
Yes.
Hermes, Birkin bags. Tell us about that. You have a few.
I have a couple. Birkins are not fashion.
Okay.
It's luxury. It's an investment. My purpose of I'm not able to be on the list, so I don't want people to, the internet to be in an outrage. I'm not on the list, but they literally just did an article about having these different stores and brands to be able to have, pre-loved Birkins. My very first one, and I'll be very transparent. I was in the streets. My gay mother, Tyra, it was purchased from her. That was my very first Birkin, which is black. My second one was just recently that I purchased on a site called Fashion File, which you're able to put a down payment on, and then they give you an ample amount of time to be able to pay it off. So I do understand where the CEO of Hermes is kind of like shaking, because what is happening is the exclusivity of what the brand was. There was a specialty about it. You had to be on this list, and you can only buy so many a year. But now, because of these places that you can go and purchase these pre-loved bags, it gives people an opportunity to be able to own God knows how many.
So can you explain the list?
Yeah.
So what exactly is the list about?
Well, the list is basically what the list is that, well, first and foremost, you got to be, well, the most important is you got to be in a certain income bracket. You would have to have spent a certain amount of money at Hermes in order for you to be able to be on this particular list. And then you can only buy, like one or two of the bags a year. Because Hermes is like, it's similar to St. John. St. John's has this policy that when you buy their shit, that there's an exclusivity to it, and that we don't care anything about the money. We're selling luxury, and that's what Hermes does. It's just it's so luxury. Of course, within our community, Black folks and everything, they've made it about, look at me, I got a Birkin bag or whatever, and tried to make it into a fashion. This is why myself personally, when people ask me when I travel, I carry my bags, but there's a certain status that goes along when you carry a bag like that. It's not just, you get a certain attention when you go into luxury stores that, you don't get, like every girl can save enough money to buy a Chanel bag. And I'm not saying that like, that's not a huge feat, because it is. But when you look at Birkins, it's just a different level. And my gay mother, which I didn't talk about, who was a part of my interest into the ballroom, she taught me that long time ago. She said, this is not just a bag that you just pick up and you just carry, because every room that you enter into, and especially within the spaces in which I entertain myself in, most people don't know. They wouldn't know if it was real or fake. You know, they don't know what it is. So
how do you feel that now people are saying, well, it doesn't matter, it looked just like the original, and they're carrying these fake bags or wearing these fake designers? How does someone who breathes fashion feel about that?
it is not the same, baby. My personal belief, and I hope that the listeners and y'all understand this. What is the purpose of carrying a knockoff? You can go into TJ Maxx, you can go into Marshalls, you can go in a Off Fifth, you can go into Neiman's Last Call and just buy a nice bag. What is so clearly you want the status that comes along with this particular bag, because if not, why would you go out and buy a Louis Vuitton bag, a monogram bag? Why would you do it? That's fake. So clearly there is a point. Yeah, you can love it, but there's a strong possibility that you like the status. But there are other beautiful bags. And this is when I love people with style, because people with style don't focus on that. You know, like personally, I am not a monogram guy. I own a few monogram pieces, but for myself, like we're looking like these shoes that's sitting up at the top, Balmain, those sandals, that's Vitamis, Rick Owens, you know, like I don't like wearing stuff that just screams, oh my God, you know, oh, it's by XYZ. And now we're in a state of fashion where everybody likes to scream, this is what I have on, and I'm wearing this, and I'm wearing that, or whatever. And it's not about that. I mean, if you're wearing all these luxury brands and you don't have a sense of style, then, I mean, what does it matter?
Right. I had treated myself to, when I won last week, this weekend, I went and purchased a Kurt Geiger bag. And
yeah, I love Kurt Geiger.
Yeah. And so I was telling a friend, I was like, yeah, she was like, where do you got it from? I was like, I got it, from Dillard's. And she was like, oh, I could have got it for cheaper for you from this place. I'm like, girl, I don't carry fake bags. But it's so common now that they're like, right. It's nothing. But what is the
Kurt Geiger's are beautiful bags. I purchased my daughter a couple of them. So yeah, they're beautiful.
I just love that eagle. It's just something about the eagle.
Yeah, it is. That's what makes the bag beautiful.
Yeah. I'll send you a picture. What is the worst fashion trend that's going on right now that you just extremely hate, that you hate?
Girl, you done heard me talk about this on my page. Listen, since we're going to go down this rabbit hole, let's go down there. Baby, I loathed a body conscious and a stretch dress. Loathed it with a passion. I loathe Crocs. I loathe Birkenstocks. Girl, that list can go so far. It is ridiculous. But I think that a body conscious dress is the easiest way out. And the reason why I think that it's the easy way out is that you feel like you got a shape and some curves and you hidden. No, baby, that's not it. It's not happening. I hate that you took me down. Girl, you done took me down a rabbit hole. I believe that seduce sexy is what is no longer embraced, especially with women. A pencil skirt, a beautiful white blouse. Then you had this discussion. I love women in beautiful lingerie. And now that they have begun to make bras for women who are top heavy, that are beautiful, because once upon a time, what's the place? Lane Bryant, you buy you a bra, you be like, girl, I don't want to wear that. But now they're sexy and beautiful. But that's the worst trend to me. Everybody knows I hate Crocs. Loathe them.
It's so interesting that you were talking about undergarments and bras and stuff. I don't know if this is just me getting older, but I have became so infatuated with the era of Jane Mansfield, Dorothy Dandridge, Marilyn Monroe, Jane Russell, when the waists were this small and they had on. But what's so interesting is my grandmother, even at 82 years old, still would wear before she passed that brassiere that would bring her waist in this small. So it's so funny that now I'm like, yeah, whenever I go to where we going next, I need a thing like that to bring my waist in this small, because I want to do that 50s look. So, but I know that that's something that you are very, very passionate about when it comes to women is the undergarment.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I believe that it's the beginning of being beautiful. I mean, why be a woman? You know, me having close male friends.
mhm,
See, women think that men want them to take their clothes off and be butt ass naked up under there. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
mhm,
When you come up out of your clothes and you look like money, you demand a different thing. That's even with myself. A man can't get me to come up out of mine and be talking about, oh, I want you to go commando. You're not the man for me.
gotcha.
You're not, because I'm just not gonna do that. That's just not who I am. It starts even now in just this interview, I got on something.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good. Because that's just who I am. And I just believe that it's very important that women, and especially when you are transitioning and coming into your womanhood, it embraces it. It allows you, because that's a part of your femininity. A beautiful bra, beautiful underwear, even if you can't afford the most beautiful garments, things that I recommend that a woman, which I know you do, a great fragrance
Mm-hmm.
and some good undergarments. Even if you can't afford the most expensive clothes, you can afford to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the trend that's going on currently that you do like?
I love anything oversized.
Oversized. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fashion being in you, your identity, you don't know where your life will be with it. Many would say, well, Mark, why aren't you dressing Cardi B? Why aren't you styling on the level of like Jay Bolin? Why aren't you on the red carpets? Or they call you the male Miranda Priestley. Why haven't you tapped into that market of fashion?
Say that one more time.
I said, with you loving fashion and it's in your identity and all of that, many may ask, why haven't you tapped into dressing celebrities or being an influencer as far as on the red carpet, styling people? People have deemed you the male Miranda Priestley. Why haven't you went into that avenue with your craft and your art?
Well, again, during the time they're becoming a big time stylist, well, age is playing a pivotal part of that.
Mhm.
And I was out in the streets being a criminal.
Okay.
But I have attacked the fashion community in my aspect, building my own brand. I have this new part that I've added to my business, which is closet renovations, especially after I finished this closet myself and did it all myself. I've done a few dozen closets already here in the city of Atlanta. So I don't know if you watched America's Next Top Model, but Tyra Banks, one of the models, she was just so gung-ho on being in front of the camera. And Tyra Banks told her that what you don't realize that sometimes you can still be in fashion and not be in front of the camera. Sometimes you can be behind the camera and still accomplish. And that's how I feel. I've learned with some of the things that I am doing, I've learned to be silent in doing them. Because again, when I talked about earlier, everybody is not going to be happy for you. Everybody's not going to celebrate who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So I am doing some things that are big things, but I've learned not to come to social media and not display them because, everybody's not happy for you.
But if the opportunity, just say you're in Atlanta. So if the opportunity came and someone that knows someone came to you and say, hey, we need you to dress a housewife, Kenya Moore, Candy Burris, you would be open to that?
No,
Oh, you wouldn't be open to it?
no, I wouldn't.
Okay. Okay.
They don't reflect the type of style that I would want to dress.
Okay. Gotcha.
But what if they want to change their style up? Like, what if they're coming to you because they want to change their style up?
Okay, well that would be a different entity, but they would have to be open to changing their particular style and open. Do I believe that Candy Burris would be open to that? I think that her current stylist that has done some work, which he's done a couple of that too with styling Fantasia. I think that he's done a great job, but haven't had an opportunity to be in spaces with Candy talking to her. She's very frugal. So, and it being that even though I can dress a woman from anywhere, there are going to be certain parts of her that I'm going to need for her to be able to spend money. And that's definitely in her accessories.
Oh.
And I know we know she got the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
it's, Wendell, it's very challenging changing people in their style. It's very challenging because often people are not open. They're scared. It's a fear because it's something that they are not familiar with. But the one thing that I've learned, even with my son, when you finally give it to them and they're out in public and the public begins to compliment it, then they begin to embrace it.
Yeah.
But before then, it's like, oh, I can't wear that. Oh, that won't look right on my body. And the one thing that I learned early on in fashion and style is that once you know the body and the silhouettes, like I don't try to put Ian in. I tried one time at Duval. I don't try to put Ian in what I will wear because Ian can't carry what I wear. He doesn't, and this is not nothing against my son. He doesn't have that type of personality to be able to carry that, as well as the height and everything to be able to carry that type of stuff.
That makes sense.
okay. So real quick, we're going to play the game, name it and claim it. You've watched in the past. So what we'll do is
Yes, I have.
10 things, people, place, things, quotes, what have you. You give us the first thing authentically that comes to your mind, and you can give us a brief explanation on why you chose that particular word. So
Okay.
typically, off the top of my head, I don't never write them down. First, your daughter, Monica Renee. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
That child has been a light. She is a true. Again, here I am. I hate to show this, but I'm gonna share something very, very quick and fast.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's about to have an experience at the end of the year, which I am extremely excited about.
I think I know
Um,
it.
yeah, I'm extremely excited about.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'll share this with the world now. Um, I will be doing an adult adoption with Monica. Um, I know that it's something that we probably don't hear a lot of within our community. We claim it, but I have such um, my relationship with her is it's amazing.
Okay. Okay. All right. Shouts out to Monica, girl. I'm excited for you at the end of the year. But number two, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of, let's say, Tommy Hilfiger?
I don't.
And the reason why I said Tommy Hilfiger is y'all remember he went through that whole span for years of being like
hmm
the top at the top. Were you ever a
hmm
Tommy
No,
fan? Okay. Okay.
no, no,
That
never.
was that was
But he
below your
wasn't. He
below
wasn't
your
that kind of
below
fan.
your
He was
cat.
I would,
athletic.
I would, no, that's not even it. I would rather wear a pair of Crocs.
Oh, well, we know you don't like those. Okay. All right. Number three, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Gino Freeman, the artist?
Loyal, loving, and kind, and the greatest friend that a person could ever have in this world.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Andre Brown?
That bitch can cook.
Okay.
Um, Again, loyal. The journey that I'm on now, his husband and I just talked about this. Andre gives the best advice.
Mhm.
He does. He gives the best advice in the world. And if anybody is able to be friends with him, and I'm talking about really be friends with him, he is an amazing friend. And I mean, in every aspect, supportive in everything. He's an amazing friend. And he's always encouraging me. Always.
Number five, Anna Wintour.
Oh, if there was no her, there would be no Vogue.
Mm.
Yeah. I hate to see her go.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah. And then she's my kind of bitch.
Hmm.
Yes. A bitch attitude, and I love it because she's a real boss. And no matter what you say about her, the bitch know her shit.
Just because I don't know, but I don't know if you know who's taking on her place. Do you know?
Um, it hasn't been said as of yet.
Okay.
And if it is, I'm not familiar as of yet.
Okay. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Valentino?
Well, a motto of his is on the mirror in my bathroom. Um, until you know, until you know a woman's body, you don't know anything about her. It's the most important part of dressing a woman. So that's what I think. I think he's one of the greatest designers that has lived.
Okay. Christian Dior.
Mm, mm. Glamorous. I'm actually wearing well, you guys can't see them. I'm actually wearing Dior boots right now.
Hmm,
Yeah.
okay. Um, Roberto Cavalli.
Oh my God. Like like uh like Versace, beautiful textiles.
Mhm. Okay.
Beautiful textiles, beautiful fabrics. Um, yeah, just amazing.
Prada.
Basic.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, basic. I mean,
Basic.
there's a market. Our own product. It's basic. It's
Okay.
simple. It's the stuff that kind of like you got to be in an environment for a person to know.
Okay. All right. When
Yeah,
you think of the Met Gala, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
the time of the year where time stops for me,
Oh, so you be glued to the screen. You be glued.
baby. Let me tell you, you have no idea. God rest Angelina Talley.
Yes. Last
Mhm.
but not least, you know I'm going to ask, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear, think, or see Yasmin Campbell Star?
Well, thankfully, you told me that I could say more than just one word. A lot of people don't know this, but that was the beginning. I was a ballroom kid, and we won't say the name before, but this little skinny kid who I met through God rest his soul, our gay daddy, Kenneth May, who actually was a very pivotal part of this. Um, there was an introduction. Miss Jasmine did. Uh, he brought me on and asked me to help with a dress for Miss Birmingham newcomer. We were young kids. We were 19, 20 years old. I was in school um, at Stillman down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I have been a part of Yasmin's life before Yasmin became Yasmin. Um, there is no time nor space, regardless of whether or not we agree or we disagree. There is an undying love there. Um, and I hope that this doesn't come across as arrogant or or cocky. But I played an intricate part in who we see today. Um, but not because I was looking for any accolades. A lot of people don't know. I didn't want Yasmin to mention my name. Um, I wanted those stories to not be told because I was in the streets. But she made a choice, and Yasmin was my introduction to drag. I didn't know anything about drag until I met her in that very first pageant, and then it became this phenomenon for me. But yeah, I mean, I love her and I adore her. That is my only sister. There was just myself and her. And again, no matter time nor space, there will always be a love. Whatever we go through in life, she's always going to be my first love when it comes to friendship.
And so that's what leads us into the final segment of your interview. A lot of
Okay.
people know you. We talked about your background as far as how you were raised and all of that. We talked about what landed you into some situations and hard times. And of course, we touched on fashion. But a lot of people don't know that or who you are when it comes to this industry of drag. How
Hmm.
you are so pivotal to so many. You mentioned, one person that you were a little disappointed in, we'll say, during your time of your situation. But Yasmin, a lot of us do know you being behind Yasmin. Of course, now um, of course, you've definitely been in my circle this few 2 years, 3 years recently since I came back on the scene. Um, the sports war was him, guys, that y'all like, the hat and all of that. That was Mark the jury. But so many other icons and legends and people that we've had on the show that may not have mentioned your name. Some have mentioned your name. They don't know that you were a pageant promoter, that you owned a prelim to Black America. They don't know that you put millions of dollars behind so many girls. Talk to us about that journey. How were you introduced to drag? How did you become a part of Yasmin's team, Tasha's team, Dominique, Tamara, all of the Burmalettes, and so many others, the Braxtons? Because I know when I came around, it seemed as though you were definitely Yasmin, but you were heavy behind the Braxtons. And
Hmm.
and so many others. Talk to us about that journey and what it has done for you in the past and where you are with that now.
Well, of course, like you just said, my introduction to drag, like I just said a minute ago, was through Yasmin. My gay father, Kenneth May, again, God rest his soul. Um, he was a very pivotal part of my life. Um, Everything was happenstance. It wasn't intentional because I was a ballroom kid. Um, but after this relationship with Yasmin and many journeys to then Black Universe, trying to capture the title, me standing behind her, uh, being included in the fashion ideas, heavily in the financial aspect of it, because I was doing my thing then. Um, it just began to develop, and it made sense for me to get a prelim.
Mhm.
Uh, and Gerald Stevens and I, who are very good friends, my brother from another mother. Um, this is before Benny had came into the picture, long before. Um, I made the choice, and I actually had the best prelim for many years. Um, the prelim at that particular time, who produced the most winners, which was Dixieland America. And anybody that is from old drag school, baby, knew Dixieland America.
Right.
A lot of people didn't know this at that particular time. A little drag history. The prelim was held in Montgomery, Alabama. When it first started, the very first year, Oris Mays and I owned the prelim together. But the very first year, we had there was so many girls. I had more girls in my prelim than the nationals had because of the amount of money. Because I gave away more money than the nationals gave away. Um, and I do understand now that most girls came to do my prelim. Some people that people may not know: Italy Zaire, Cyril Sinclair, Fabian Bonet, Nikki Bonet, my daughter Tandy. All of these people finally made the top five up under the leadership of myself within the drag community. Actually, Fabian Bonet actually won Mr. Black America as my king. William Versace, uh, your former mother, Miss Tamara Chevalier, um, um, and just being a part of that thing because drag was big in Birmingham. We have a lot of winners that have come from just not Birmingham, Alabama.
Mhm.
Um, I was a part of that big thing when Club 21 was like, whew, when Miss Alabama USA was held in Birmingham, Alabama. And this was the year that Yasmin, the first year that Yasmin had went to a national pageant and she did it. And there were 20 some girls in the pageant and Miss Yasmin placed second runner up. Ultimately, Miss Yasmin went to Miss USA, which it was in San Antonio, Texas. And this was the year, if people know their drag history, Miss Sweet Savage won the pageant that year. It was the year that Tandy Andrews was supposed to give it up. And Miss Yasmin ended up going to the pageant. Miss Amber Starr, God rest her soul, won the pageant. Miss Z Jones was first. and Miss Jasmine was second. Miss Amber had, God rest her soul, she had a little situation. And they dethroned her. Miss Z Jones moved up. Miss Jasmine moved up to first. She ended up going to Miss USA. And this is when I really began to be heavily, a lot of people didn't know that. They thought that Miss Jasmine's journey at USA had just started. But Miss Jasmine had been to USA, let me see, the year that Maya Douglas won, which it was in Ohio, and then the year that Sweet Savage won when it was in San Antonio, Texas. And this is when she used to do the talent, which most people remember, A Woman in Somalia. People love that talent. But yeah, and I just began, and then we come along later in the years. It's when I met Natasha Braxton. When Natasha won Miss Black America, she was my queen. And then come along, there was the relationship that was formed with Miss Tatiana Braxton. And of course, I was a part of that process as well. Miss Gabrielle Sherrington did my prelim. The list goes on and on. Like it was the shit. and I never thought that I was iconic. I just loved drag at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. So knowing that you had all of these heavy hitters and knowing that you produced so many winners or are now winners of that, you have all the right to say and feel how you feel about the industry because you've been in it so long and you have a track record of winners and people that you were behind. Where do you see drag now? What is it to you?
Well, I mean, if you follow me, you already know. I don't see drag what it used to be. And maybe I'm just biased because I came from an era of drag where there was a lot of effort put into. I came from the era of drag where when you went into the dressing room, there was a station full of signed photographs. Where girls put all of this effort. But I also understand that during that time of drag, that because pageantry is built on hustlers. People don't like to talk about it, but it's built on hustlers. A lot of the careers that you saw of a lot of the girls from back in the days, it was because of somebody out there putting their livelihood on the line. But I don't see it. I don't enjoy pageantry. I'll be transparent. I don't enjoy pageantry like I used to. It's not one of those things. If I miss a pageant, I remember you and I had this conversation and you was messing with me. You was like, "Unc, you didn't show up." Like if I miss a pageant now, I don't feel any kind of way. But it used to be a time when we had National Sweetheart in Savannah, Georgia. I would be like, baby, I had to be there. I wouldn't have missed Continental to save my life. I don't care two shits about going to Continental. I wouldn't miss Duval to save my life. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. And again, I look at sometimes is the amount of effort that is putting on a package on stage. But the other side of it that I look at as well, again, there's no longer the funding they used to have. The girls don't have it now like they used to. Like there are girls like you who get up and you work and you have to spend your, whether or not a person has to take on a second job or whatever to be able to fund this very expensive hobby. There are no longer any prelims. There's no work for the girls. Nikki Diamond had a conversation. People remember the post, and she was just like, "Well, that's not true. We can't talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. That's a small portion of drag." And I hate when people, "Oh, well, no, that's not the big stream of drag. RuPaul's Drag Race is a small portion of drag. When we look at drag, we look at the nightclubs, the show bars, and all of that. Those girls are not demanding. They're not being able to demand a $500 booking fee. That's just not happening anymore. And then we have the national pageants that no longer have prelims. And then when they do have prelims, there are no people coming to do the prelims. Once upon a time, everybody wanted to come in a prelim and be the ruler. Now what I'm looking at is just things have transitioned. And this is not, me pouring salt on anybody or being mean. It is what it is. Black America, there are no prelims. When you win, you might be able to get a booking, but there's no work. So, I mean, the state of drag to me is basically like a very expensive hobby. Unless you're just one of those girls like where Raquel has been as Miss Continental, that just has a lot of grind. But girls like you, y'all have jobs, so you're not able to get out every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and go and work at a show bar. And then often the bar owners don't have any money to be able to give you. What they're giving you is, we can bring you, and they're giving you this meager tip. And I'm not saying everybody. And often the prelim owners to the pageants, those are the people who are supplying a booking fee. And then when you get to the club, often what's happening and occurring is the girls are working for tips.
Yeah.
And that's just being honest. That's just what a state of drag is to me. Like when I go to Continental now, baby, it was a time that when them girls cut that fucking corner, baby, that was every breath in me was taken away. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I was at Continental, when Raquel won, Raquel and what's her name? With the black hair and the red lip, what's her name?
Ava.
The eyelash line. Yes, they took my breath away. Ava took my breath away. She did something to me. There's not a lot of girls that I look at when you say, if you were to ask me, name somebody. I really, like, there's still people like I love Mimi Marks. I love her. It's not many girls that can just stand there and do what she do and still like, I want to give her $1. So, I mean, like the state of drag now, I get bored easily. The girls don't know you saw the post. The girls don't know their music. They just getting up there and they just bubble gumming. Like, okay, but why would I give you my money when you have put no effort? All you did was turn the track on. Excuse my verbiage, bitch, I could have got up there and did that.
Right.
But that's where I see the state of drag now.
But do you somehow correlate that when you were behind everybody and you was giving all your money and then your situation happened, could that also be another reason why you're not really into it anymore? Because you're like, you know what? I done spent millions on people that didn't call me, didn't invite me, or excuse me, didn't call me, didn't write me, don't got nothing to do with me. I just don't even want to be involved in that anymore.
I'm glad you asked me that question. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There was and again, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because this is not that type of platform.
No.
But there's a list. There's definitely a list of disappointment and hurt. And there's always going to be love. Always. Because we have memories. And I don't forget those memories. But I expected more out of them. And then when those things begin to happen, my love it slowly began to disappear.
Do you think that love could ever reemerge?
No.
Okay.
Because I live a different life now.
Okay.
My life is I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. I am a middle-aged man, and it is time for, well, it's the truth. I mean, I know your uncle look good, but it is what it is. I'm 54 years old, and I have so many other things that I would like to do with my life. Things that I didn't do when I was younger that I should have done, that I can't make up time, but no. I definitely wouldn't go back. Will I still attend? Absolutely. If I'm just so high and I'd have had a few drinks and a few of these cocktails or whatever, I'll come see a show. But other than that,
Well, you're still involved because you're still on panels. You still have children and nieces and your best friends still compete.
Absolutely.
So you're still involved in the aspect of it. And I'm more than sure if you knew from these prelims, whether it be NBU, Continental, if you knew certain names are on it, you would definitely come out and support them. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just you're not putting money behind people like that.
No.
Because you are fashion, what is something that the boys are doing that you hate when it comes to their garments? Let's talk about that. Do you need to take a sip? I mean, you knew it was conversation. You knew I was going to.
I know it, girl. I knew it. Because, see, the people going to think I'm trying to throw them under the bus. But I'm not. I'm going to tell my truth. Right. Well, I'm gonna tell my truth as I see it.
Right.
Um, as far as it pertains to the, let's talk about the male league. I believe that sometimes what occurs is that people get stuck on a particular thing, a look, and they just hold on to it for years and years and years and years. And there's a twofold to this. First, there's an aspect of the industry tells you that they want more and they want creativity. But then when you bring it to them, you and I've had this conversation, it's a problem. So how do you expect for drag not to stay in the early 2000s and the 90s when you're not giving our people opportunity to be able to express themselves in a more current way? As it pertains to guys, and I'll talk about this and I talk about it on my social media often. The best part of a look is accessories. When I trained my son and when Oris Mace was up under me, the most important thing is a pair of shoes. We can Ian won Sportswear at Black America twice in $100 suit. $100. It was taken to a tailor. There was some modifications. Givenchy did one year, the year that he wore the black, and he wore the Balenciaga boots. That was $100 suit from Zara. That was a good hat and great accessories. But what happens is everybody's, and this is not to say anything wrong, everybody's so caught up in going to, to get a Colin or a Julian and not realizing I would rather for you to find something that has a great vision. How when you go to your consignment stores and, we help pull together an amazing look and do that and spend those and please, I'm not trying to take no money out of nobody's pocket. And I'd rather for you to go spend $1,200 on a pair of shoes. Something that when you come off of the stage, you can still be able to utilize. And I teach my son this all the time. This is why he's gotten into this better shoe purchase thing. Because I don't want y'all to just have things that you can just utilize and it goes in the closet and that's it. Because I think that it's a disservice to you. It's a waste of money because literally, if you on Sportswear, you're on stage for 2 minutes, if that. So now you're the one that spent all of this money for something that you probably wear a couple of more times, and that's it. But what if you go and you just so happen to find something with a nice silhouette on ASOS, but all of a sudden you own Farfetch and you find a beautiful pair of Jimmy Choos that went on sale for $400 or $500. I would rather for you to make that investment because we can accessorize something and make it look expensive. But it's hard to make, like you done went and spent $1,200, but then you want to stop at at Amazon and you want to buy the shoe. It's a no for me.
Do you feel like certain girls and or guys can get away with pushing envelopes and doing certain things opposed to just a regular girl coming out? Prime example, you always hear this saying, well, if Yasmin had that on, they would buy it. Or
Right.
if Marissa had that on, they would buy it. But the average girl may wear it, they're not buying it. Do you think that? How
Right.
do you feel about that?
I do. I agree. It's all about, again, silhouettes, knowing your body type, but that doesn't mean that you can't.
Like, I'll say this, and again, I'm not trying to throw anybody, but I'm gonna use this as an example. I remember, I think we all remember the leopard print look. I mean, not the leopard print look, but when Rico wore the pink at Black Universe.
Yeah.
Kendall could have put that look on
Mhm.
because of his height, how slim he is, and a level of masculinity. And he would have wowed the crowd. And I think that sometimes that's where people miss the mark, that they don't really, take in consideration of sometimes simplicity. It's okay. You don't have to have on all of this, because what Rico did, there was a simple aesthetic to it. It was just a beautiful color. And it was the way that he accessorized it that made it amazing. And I think that sometimes guys could get away with certain things, or certain girls could get away with certain things if they paid attention to silhouettes. You and I have had this conversation. You know, I know you like to show your, but I equally think that with you, that like if we use you as an example, that you can put a beautiful blouse on with a beautiful bow that fits you really good. Since you're now into this era of the Jane Mansfields or whatever, that would still give you that level of, I'm still sexy, but now I'm covered up. And I love seduced sexy when it comes to, with women. Because I don't feel like sexy has to be with showing, but sexy could be,
Gotcha.
it's a state of mind.
Who has, past or present, who would you say has the best drag
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Who would you say has the best drag
Okay.
closet?
The best drag closet. Past or present?
Past or present?
Female.
Mm-hmm.
Santana T. Summers.
I never met her. I've always heard of her though.
Baby.
Okay.
Baby, although that voice was a whatever, but baby, Mama had gave me, and of course, the legendary Chanel Dupree.
Okay. Yeah. She always fits up. So you approve their closets.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You are,
and of course, my girlfriend.
Cookie.
And of course, my girlfriend, Miss Yasmin. Miss Yasmin does beautiful, she does beautiful garments when it comes to drag.
Yeah. I mean, you are definitely a hard cookie. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But you often talk about arts and crafts when it comes to certain sportswears and formal wears and garments.
Girl, you just determined on making me just throw the people off.
Hold on. I didn't say no names. But what
hold
do you
on
mean
a minute,
by
girl.
arts and
Hold
crafts?
on, because I'm gonna say it. Hold on.
What arts and crafts is.
Hold on. Because I'm gonna say it. Might as well.
We've seen it so much from you. What does that mean?
So would you like for me to explain arts and craft or name a particular thing?
Both.
Okay then. Javon Braxton is arts and craft to me.
Okay.
We just talk as recently as Peoples. It's nothing personal, because I think that when you voice your opinion, I've had this conversation, it's, oh, you're being malicious. No, that's not what that is. That's an opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Some of us have them out loud. Some of us have them amongst each other. Some of us have them in our inbox or whatever. I believe that this last look at Peoples, it was very arts and craft. It was very, I didn't understand it. It just didn't make sense to me. It was like, what is really going on? The headpiece, the sprayed bag, the ill fit in the jacket, just so many things that were just wrong. And I don't have a personal vendetta against him, but for me personally, I just don't see it.
But Ankh, from a fashion aspect, you can't agree that he's had fashion moments, right?
No.
No?
No, absolutely not. For me, that's for me now.
Right.
But do I believe that he's had moments in the realm in which he's in, which is male leads? Absolutely.
Okay.
But as far as fashion, no. But male lead, yes.
So you're saying arts and crafts is when you think they're putting a lot of things together.
Right. It doesn't, because it should tell a story. It should make sense.
Okay.
Like we look at when Raquel came out for Miss Continental in that final nightgown. it was no question what that meant. Am I correct?
Old broom still sweet is what I.
Baby, it was understood. It told a story, and it was beautiful in telling the story.
Mhm.
Both nights,
Mhm.
you know. And that's what I mean. And again, I have to name particular people in order for it to be understood. But it's not me throwing. And I want to reiterate this. It is not me throwing, because I don't dislike. Contrary to what people think, I don't dislike nobody for real. If you don't like me, okay, baby, that's your problem. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Mhm.
But I actually like everybody. Am I strong in my opinions? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. King, you got anything real quick?
No, so it's not personal. It's just an assessment. It's just an
Exactly.
assessment of what you see.
You know,
I
like when
mean,
you were talking, we'll take prime example, Wendell, when I would see the post of you when we were talking about how we supported one particular candidate, your views, your beliefs, and whatever. Like, even though some of it was, we could go and we can research it, but there were other things was, you know, whether it be character, integrity, you know, those are other things that swayed you in that direction.
right.
And it's okay, you know, that we differ. And it's okay if somebody else's opinion was stronger about something else, but that doesn't mean that because we differ that I dislike you.
Mhm.
Because I'm not having a conversation about your character and your integrity. I'm having a fucking conversation about a pair of shoes. I didn't say, oh, I don't like you. No, I didn't like what you had on. And that's the separation. I'm not bothered. Like, even with my business, the name of my business came from somebody making a snide-ass remark about me. They said that my fashions was tacky. I took it and ran away with it. And I went and took care of my business, and we came up with my tacky fashion. And everybody don't see me. You know what I'm saying? They don't. And that's okay. You know? So that's, yeah,
Right.
that's more so, you know, when I mean, and he's not the only one, you know, but I used it because it was the most recent thing that was talked about
It's
on
just an
social
example. Yeah.
It's an example.
on social platforms. And again, he thinks that I dislike him, and I would say publicly, I do not dislike him.
Mhm.
So let me
I
ask you
don't.
this.
Go ahead.
So you said something earlier in the first hour, and I think that we all three can identify with that, right? When Trinity asked you what was three things that you would change, and you said the first one you said was delivery. And I
Mhm.
think that we all three can agree that we've all had we
Right,
all have delivery,
right,
issues.
right. I can
Do
agree.
you think that sometimes it would probably be better? Well, no, I'm gonna ask you in your example. For use you as an example, do you think that people understand you better when you do a live versus when you make a post? Because when you do a live, they can hear how you're saying it.
Oh,
They can
absolutely.
hear the details, which makes them understand that you're not trying to be rude. But when we make a post, sometimes people can take their own interpretation of that.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, Wendell. Because, you know, the written word can always be interpreted the way that you want to interpret it. But when
Mhm.
someone makes a live, like even when I make videos and at the end, I always say, you know, to remember to be kind to others and also to be kind to yourself. And again, these are just my personal opinions. I'm no different than if somebody was in a blog realm or whatever. I just, you know, no different than with Baxter, just merely just voicing your opinion, your
Mhm.
opinion. And what I said a while back is that I think that we're living in times where people are super sensitive. Like, you can't say anything. Everything has to be, you have to have a kumbaya, what I call a kumbaya spirit. You
Yeah.
got to monitor every fucking thing you say out of your mouth, because somebody's going to always feel as though you're stepping on their toes. And I got 5,000 people. What makes you think that I am singling
Mhm.
you out? Now, there have been times that I have been talking about particular situations. But
Mhm.
again, there's a difference between an opinion and malicious intent.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
huge difference. It's cold and hot.
Mhm.
Like, malicious intent is, oh, that bitch had on XYZ. But as opposed to you just saying, oh, well, XYZ had on whatever, it's no different than when the judges sit up there with that pen and
Right.
paper.
But you're into fashion, so it should not be abnormal for you to give an opinion of fashion, right? No matter
Exactly.
who it is, it shouldn't be abnormal. But
And
I
go ahead.
had in the past, like, which is abnormal for me, but in the past, I know that it was like we had a moment where people thought, well, I was told that you thought I didn't like you, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm,
I never thought that you didn't like me. I I
mhm.
I I did not like a post but I had to look and reevaluate myself in the moment because you made a post once that I felt was rude because it just neglected me, right? And it was talking about it was actually talking about the show. And
Right.
so I was like, damn, like I get it that I don't really talk a lot on the show.
Mhm.
So I get that part, but I didn't think that you did not like me because of the
Right.
post. I just
And,
felt like I was like I just thought it was kind of, well, I guess like your brand. I thought it was tacky, right? But I
right.
didn't. But
Right.
I did not think that you disliked me because of
Right.
it. And I think that people get those things mixed up. And then when I look back, I was like, well, I don't talk a lot, right? I don't talk a lot on the show because I talk a lot all damn day. So I'm like, on a Tuesday for me, that's like I've been at work. I'm already tired, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
get it, but I think that people misunderstand people like you, like me, like Trinity, because of our
Stop putting
posts.
me in this.
Well, I'm just saying because we can make a post and people will take their own interpretation of it versus us being able to explain what we're
Right.
saying.
And see, Wendell, now I'm at a stage where I don't do that anymore because how you feel about me is none of my business.
Right.
And this is an interview, and it's a professional environment. But Trinity and I have, especially over the last year, begin to form. I express to her how I feel. I give her her accolades. I think that she has seen a side of me that is very soft. I'm very transparent on how I feel when she asks me questions about certain things that she sent it to me. And what I say, niece, no. And if I like it, yeah. Well, what you think? And I think that she has gained a level of respect because she knows that I'm going to be direct and transparent. I'm not going to be like the other people who led her down a rabbit hole. And then after she's went out there and made a fucking fool of herself, then they want to talk about her. No, let's handle this like this first.
Which is
And
correct.
with the situation about the post, there was no intent. And as I told Trinity, when I didn't mention your name, it was no, it honestly, I didn't even think that I had did anything wrong, because I didn't do it from a space of like, oh, I intentionally not said him. And if I made you feel that way, I want to publicly say that I apologize because
Oh,
that
you
wasn't my
good.
intentions.
No. That was fine. I mean, that was over.
Oh, okay.
That was that was over a long time. I don't even remember the details of the post, if I'm
Right.
being honest.
Mhm.
So I just used it as an example of
Mhm.
how we can sometimes read something and get
Exactly.
angry, not really knowing where a person was coming from. But I do think
Right.
that we all have to take responsibility when we have any type of platform. We do
Right.
have to take responsibility because when you just explained what you had to say about that particular person at the pageant, it made sense and it didn't feel like it was ugly or malicious because
Right.
it
And it's
made sense
not.
that you were just giving a fashion assessment and
Exactly.
you are able to do that.
Right. And I mean, when we had those shows when Joan Rivers was on the red carpet, baby, no people weren't being nice. They
Yeah,
were saying some shit like, oh my God. Joan
yeah,
Rivers was infamous for that. She was famous for doing that. Like
yeah,
being very direct. When you take Andre Leon Talley, God rest his soul, the person who gave me wings, he was famous for it. He never held back. And if you really get involved in the fashion community, it ain't no soft feelings.
yeah.
Those designers are not having billion-dollar industries by, you know, thank you, have a great day, next.
Yeah.
But if you soft and you're sensitive, and again, we're in very sensitive times now. Like you can't
Yeah.
say anything. Everybody feels the need. I applaud my niece. She's she's become very subdued. And once I begin to understand Trinity, I begin to understand that although she's very vocal, but there is no like malicious intent. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
But now when you say stuff, because of social media, a bitch want to screenshot it, send it to somebody, and say, oh, XYZ said XYZ. And now you like, what? Baby, I didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. But again, the written word could be perceived, and I'm not going to begin to filter myself because it's a few folks that feel some kind of way. Bitch, that's your problem. I don't got nothing to do with that. How you feel is your business, your problem. How you feel about me. The one thing no one could ever say when you speak to me in public and you come up to me, there's no air, there's no arrogance or whatever. I always show love. I don't care if I got on a $75,000 worth of stuff. Because I'm in a community and in a space where no matter what I have on, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just there to be able to enjoy and entertain myself. I just so happen to be a person who's extremely fashionable.
And that's fair. Like, it's like going to a restaurant with someone that's a chef and they're sitting there eating. They critique everything, you know, like
Exactly.
they're critiquing. Like,
And people don't understand passion. They don't understand. Like, most people don't even dub into that passion. They're taught to get up, go to work, get a job, make good money, and that's it. They don't dub into it. They don't even know who they are. Therapy taught me this. I know who I am. I know what I love. I love this shit. And I would spend I get out every day and I hustle and I grind because I got business like a Jew. Excuse my verbiage. But to have the stuff that I want, because I believe that there's only one time that you get to do this, man. Once. And if you don't get all you can out of it, you've done yourself a disservice. So I buy the stuff. What my kids, Ian and Monica and Gino and them and Andre and them do with this shit when I'm gone, I don't care. You can take it and sit it out on the corner and burn it up. You know, there's a couple of people be like, baby, let me get that Birkin, but you know, but I don't care. I'm enjoying this. This is what I was called to be. And I'm not going to be anybody else. And whoever got a problem with it, oh well.
So the bottom line is your posts are not intentional. They're not to be malicious. There's just
No.
your perspective on things. Whether
Exactly.
it's fashion, whether it's how a queen should be reigning or whatever. So I don't.
Right.
So the bottom line is, guys, don't take it personally. This is just it's no different than anyone else. Just don't take it personally. I know a lot of us, and me being clear, I do be like, dang, you couldn't have said it that way. You couldn't have said, you know.
Right.
But we're not.
But Trinity, what I
change
appreciate about you, since we're on this public platform, what I do appreciate about you and your growth and everything within this industry. I've told you this. I've woken up in the morning and sent you these long, in-depth posts about who you are. And you'll validate that to the people. Yeah. And I say to you, you know, like, I'm extremely proud of you. I'm extremely proud of you. The elevation, the separation, we've talked about that, of who you become. And also for you to be able to be humble enough to be able to ask. Because see, once you put it out there in the universe and everybody, see how I may give you the perspective, may be harsh, but baby, once you put it out there and it's the food, the way they're gonna tear your ass up, it's gonna be a whole nother perspective. So I would rather for you to allow me to tell you that first, and then we don't put that out there because we want you to always be the best version of who you are. And your drag and everything has grown tremendously. So I just want to say that to you.
Well, thank you for that. I definitely feel like a lot of times, you know, coming up under, you know, Yas and them, that's what you all did to her. She said,
oh, absolutely. She
said
that in our interview.
She said, y'all would tell her, where you think you going with that? That's a fool. You, Tata, and all. She said, Tata.
Baby, let me tell you something.
Told her one day at the pageant, Oh, bitch, you're losing because you are a fool. So just be
Baby, let
ready.
me tell you something. Yasmin has talked about this publicly when she was going through her sabbatical with substance abuse and everything. Miss
Uh-huh.
Yasmin went to Miss Continental.
Mhm,
Miss Yasmin had that god awful reddish blonde hair.
mhm.
She was a fucking horrid mess to me. And that's one of my closest friends in the world.
Mhm.
But we would sit around at those kitchen tables, whatever, when we was all, because we rode in the back of U-Hauls and everything to get the pageants, to support this bitch. But I told, and she said this in an interview with you, I was very hard on her. Very. I didn't sugarcoat it for Yasmin. And we're talking about Yasmin is a little bit more outspoken now, but she was very mild and meek then. But I didn't play the radio with her because if we're going to be the best, same thing with my son. When my son first started doing this, that shit that he was wearing, oh no, you're not going to say I'm your dad and you're going to be wearing that. Oh no, we got to do better than that, baby. And he has.
And look, but look what has been produced. So you
exactly.
I much
And
rather
when you
somebody
look
I'm
at
close
Ian,
to. I much rather
when you
somebody
look
I'm
at
close
Ian,
to.
and when we talk about Ian's legacy and everything, one of the things that you are ultimately going to be able to say is, oh, he was one of the baddest motherfuckers as Mel Leach when it came to sports whales. You're gonna be able to say that because I'm hard on him. I had that boy to try on stuff so many times, it's fucking ridiculous. He'd be like, oh, I'd be like, oh well, child.
Yeah.
You're gonna be all right. Let's walk in it. Let's move in it. And I think that that's very important. And that's what produces winners is the intricacy of that. When you call me or you send me videos, well, what you think? I'm always very honest with you. Baby, lead it. No, baby. No.
I mean, you have to have somebody on your side that's gonna tell you the truth, so you won't end up on dockets on other networks.
Right. Because the court of public opinion, when you make it to Facebook, baby, them kids they gonna tear your ass up.
They don't play, baby. They get the
They don't
screenshot
play.
and you
And
get
it ain't no
every
use. I'm
group.
be like, baby, I tried to tell you and you didn't want to listen to me. You thought I was being funny, but now look what happened. So you know.
Right. Well, I'm glad that we were able to clear that up as far as like the post, because a lot of people wanted to know, why does he make such posts the way he does? And I think that in hearing all of that, it's not to be malicious, it's not to be mean,
Absolutely
it's just
not.
his perspective from things. And it does ask you what's on your mind. So we have to be mindful that everybody's mind does not work the same. And so when you see Mark write something that you may not agree with, it's okay to keep scrolling. It's okay. You don't have to take it personally. Unless it is meant for you to, because hit dogs will definitely holler. So we are at definitely 2 hours. I knew it was going to be a good conversation. So
thank you.
Last few questions. We always ask this. Up and coming. I know you're not on the scene, but I know you see things. Who do you like? Give me 3 entertainers that are up and coming or that are on their way.
Well, baby, I had this conversation with what's called, and it's gonna be the first name that I met. I say Ezekiel. Okay. Baby, he did it for me at Black America. It was fresh. It was a breath of fresh air. It was style. It was fashion. It was approach from an aesthetic where he knew his body, the haircut and everything. Do I believe that he needed more work? I believe that he's doing it. Yes, but he is fresh. I love him. I love him. I love what is your queen's name? I hate when I have brain freeze.
Amaya.
Trinicia?
Amaya. Love her. Love Miss Amaya. I love the way that I love her drag delivery. I love everything about it. And I'm not just saying this because you're on this platform. You're becoming one of my favorites. And I told you that.
Thank you.
Well, everybody will say this. Trinity came into my inbox. And I know that she don't like people to see the softer side of it. And she said that she had waited for years to hear that from me. And I told her that I was very proud of her, what she's presenting, how she's grown, has definitely. And this last showing, you had let them know, baby.
Thank you.
I'm not here to play with you.
Sometimes that's all we just need to hear to keep us going.
Yeah. And especially when people respect you. Yeah. You know? Yeah. But those are the 3 people. Y'all are you and those other 2 people that I know. There are others, but as far as 3 people, I'm really enjoying the growth of my son. The Do I believe that he has work to do? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I believe that he's on a good trajectory, and I believe that he has the potential. I would like for my son to begin to work more so on entertaining more and work on his entertainment skills. But as far as like his own stage and everything, when he's in competition, he showed us this last time with his talent that he has the capacity to be able to deliver a good pageant package. But I just want him to be able to work, like Ian is not a entertainment. He ain't no performing dude. So, he get up and go to work. You know what I'm saying? Give him a walk and let him do a walk. He good. But baby, when it's time to, basically like you know what I'm saying? Because you don't like doing shows, and you said that publicly.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the
But
process.
we'll clock in when we need to.
Right. You'll clock in when you need to.
Mount Rushmore. Who are your 4 girls you're putting on that mountain? Past or present?
Mimi Marks, who's one of my all-time favorite entertainers. Miss Tandy Andrews. Miss Sweet Savage, God rest her soul. Miss Paula Sinclair. She's legendary, and I don't think that she gets the accolades that she deserves and the impact that she deserves in the community. And last, friends with Giselle. What's her name? Give it to me.
I don't know.
Lives down in Florida. Got married.
Chantel.
Oh, Chantal.
Yes,
DeMarco.
baby. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. She gives me pure life.
Okay.
It ain't a lot of baby. Let me tell you something. It ain't baby. Oh, my Lord. And you're breathtakingly beautiful while doing it. If you could do them ratchet ass songs and still be pretty, you give me life. So there are other girls, but those would be.
Okay. Your legacy. What do you want it to be? What do you want to be known? Now here's the thing. You cannot say my fashion. we know you. We know you're gonna be known for your fashion.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay, good.
Something that a lot of people don't know that I didn't get an opportunity because we only have a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge advocate for the homeless community. Okay. And I've made posts asking people and begging, no shade, for money to be able to service the homeless community. Here in the city of Atlanta, we have a huge homeless community. And I would like for my legacy to be a part of service.
Okay.
To be able to serve that community, because I always think that it could have been me because of the environment that I came from. It could have been me. And there were times that I thought that it was going to be with me because I didn't get to touch on this, but I stayed for about 2 weeks. I stayed in, this is when the bus station was by the Westin Hotel. I stayed in the bus station for almost 2 weeks. And I just got out of jail, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay. So with that saying, is there, we only have only so much of your life we can do in 2 hours. Is there anything that you want to talk about, clear up, any misconceptions, anything you want to say that you weren't able to say that we might not have asked?
Well, I mean, we kind of like touched on it just a little bit. Mm-hmm. This perception that my good brother and sister, whatever, Andre, aka Olga Goldstein, shout out to you. It's a long story behind how he got that name.
Okay.
But there's a really soft side to me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, when you get to know me personally, you get an opportunity to be able to see that I'm very expressive in how I feel about you. And when I love you, I truly love you. When I form friendships, I form them for a lifetime. It's hard to get in, and it's even harder to get out with me, because at that particular point, I'm going to do everything I need to do to fix it, to make sure that we just work through it. That's one thing. And then the other thing is I've talked about it publicly. My struggle with depression. A few years back, I wanted to kill myself. And I remember you and I had a brief conversation. A troll came in my inbox and said, "Do the world a service and go ahead and end it all."
Oh, wow.
And it was a uphill battle. But the one thing that saved me was my mother's lost 3 children. And I just didn't want my mother to lose another one. I believe that I have something to offer the world. And it's more than my style and my passion and all of that. There's kindness and empathy and compassion. And these are the things that I believe that I believe that the way that you judge a man is by the friends that he or she, or the woman is by the friends and the people that he loves that surrounds them. Because they get to see something in them. And if you love Yasmin, and Yasmin is a good friend of mine, the practical thing would say is there has to be something about Marv that we just don't get to see.
Right.
So I would we didn't get an opportunity, but that was the one thing that when I battled with depression, I went through a horrible breakup. My personal life has always been my personal life and the dating experience, but I do like a fine ass man, and I like a man with a 28-inch waist.
Speaking of that, I have a question that popped up probably about 30 minutes ago. They want to know, are you dating or open to dating? Somebody watching you on here.
Absolutely. I believe in love, and I'm ready to be in love again. I've gone through extensive therapy, and I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
They got to know how to dress, though, right?
Well, no, because I can teach them that. That's not a problem. Yeah,
okay.
I can teach them that. I can buy them what's needed. But what they do have to be is driven.
Okay.
We're not doing no more projects over here.
Ooh.
We're not raising nobody. And I have somebody, and I won't say their name. I have somebody, and he knows who he is, and he's probably watching, that I do like. And I expressed that to him. And I expressed that to him today. And he encompasses, he's handsome, he's extremely successful, and I believe that he can handle me.
Do we know him?
Yeah, absolutely. You know him. I'll inbox you.
Oh, I want to know this. Okay.
Yeah, you know him.
So before last question before window and before we dismiss you, y'all make sure you stay around for the recap. When you look at your life at 54, everything you've been through, everything you've done, what you wanted to do, I'm always pressure you to, because I know you said school was one thing. I would always be the one to tell you, Unc, it's not too late. Is there anything that you regret, want to redo, or will want to do in the future?
No regrets.
Okay.
Absolutely. I believe that everything that was woven was supposed to be a part of the fabric that I became. I wholly believe that. This that I experienced, me being able to have my story, my testimony, had those things not happened, I wouldn't be able to share that with you. Now, things that I would like to do, I've said this earlier, that I know it's not too late for me to go back to school. And of course, if I go back now, of course, we pretty much know what it'll be for.
Yeah.
Of course, something fashion related. one of my big, well, I would say, you talked about this earlier. I believe that, I think that I wish I would have gone to New York at a very young age when wardrobe stylists first came into our play, and gone to New York as opposed to out here swiping a credit card and writing a check and making a check for somebody, and gone to New York, because whatever June Ambrose, whatever La Roche, whatever Colin, whatever those people, whatever they are, I could have been, and then some. Because if I don't know nothing in the world, whether or not people want to give me that accolade or not, because I've studied it. And I know fashion history like nobody that you will probably ever meet in your life. There's some people say, oh, I love clothes. Baby, it's more than loving them for me. I know it. I know I know who is married to Betsy Bloomingdale and created the Diners Club. I know who the society women were, who sit on those, those third and fourth rows and buy, all couture. I mean, one of my favorite people in the world is Daphne Guinness. She's a fashion icon. So I know who these people are because I studied the craft. I know who Isabella Bloom is. Even though she wasn't the most beautiful person, God rest her soul, in 2017. I know this stuff because I studied it. So that is one of the regrets, the things that I wish I would have done. And I would love to be able to start what I consider to be a concierge service where, and not more so the female entertainers, but the male leads will reach out, hire me, of course, and utilize my service. Because I would like to bring a more interesting current standpoint into the pageant arena. And I believe that starts with changing fashion.
Before we get to the last question, let me expound on that. So you are willing to help outside of your norm. If they come, they have to know they're coming with a fee, but that you are willing to.
Oh,
help.
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And when I ask you what your budget is, you need to know it. Okay. Because that's the determination whether or not I'm able to help you or not.
Okay. That makes sense.
If you tell me $500, then it's a no. I'm just saying.
Okay. So before Wendell asked the last question, you gave us 2 hours and 16 minutes of great conversation. I think that what you said, what your journey was, definitely needed to have been heard. So thank you for that. So go ahead, Wendell.
So we always ask our guests for a nugget to leave with us. So what is one nugget that you can leave with us that we could take along our journeys with us?
Well, first I want to say thank you. I appreciate this opportunity for me being able to tell my story. I was so excited about this, for people to see a side of me that they have never saw. But how I end every video that I make. Remember to be kind to others, but mostly importantly, be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much.
Where can the people see what's going on with you? Are you going to be places? They're going to see you at Continental, no?
No, I'm not going to Continental this year.
But you will be at NBU.
I will be at NBU. And I got a little. I'm gonna shake the table. I'm gonna shake the table.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're
going to. And any of my male leads that are preparing for, I'll say this publicly, if you're preparing for a pageant and you need consult and you got a great budget with my fee, let's make that clear. I am more than willing to give direction, help, and assistance. And what comes along with that is me doing the groundwork, presenting the ideas, and putting that board together so that you can come up. And my specialty would be sportswear, because that's what I am good at when it comes to the pageant realm. When it comes to those categories like creative costumes and all of that, I always say to people that, do I know when it's beautiful? Absolutely. But that's that type of drag, it is not in my skill set. But when it comes to a sportswear, whether or not we need to simplify it or elevate it. I'm the guy, and I'm willing to help you. But again, that comes with a fee, and I ain't talking about no $100.
So hit him up, guys, because obviously it has a great track record with sportswears. I am one that knows that. Of course, Ian and so Yasmin, so many others. So make sure you do that. You have all of these storages of things and clothes. Has it ever occurred maybe a sale? No? Yes?
Well, going back to poverty, I am attached to stuff.
Okay.
I have a 10 by 10 that is full of clothes and shoes. Some people may be like, oh, child. My good friend Andre, one day he was with me, and he came, and when I raised the door up, he was just like, my God in heaven. So, no, because I'm a collector.
Okay.
I'm a collector of beautiful things. I have a lot of vintage stuff. But again, this is not for, bragging and all of that type of stuff. Because when you're in a certain environment, people me talking about that stuff, baby, they don't know. And that's not me saying something like, whatever, if it's not the lane, what purpose does it serve?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you're a person that gets fascinated by knowledge and would like to be educated. But often people don't, because most time people will say, oh, well, you're just materialistic or XYZ. And I can assure you that ain't it. Bitch, you could, excuse my verbiage, bitch, you could put me in a motherfucking one room with a twin bed and surround me by all my clothes, and I'll be in the happiest place of my life. And it could be in the ghetto.
But you could possibly, just a thought, do like Marlo and do like a showroom rental, no?
Well, I have done that, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I have rented my stuff out, and it came back either dirty or damaged.
Oh no. Okay. Never mind.
So guess what? The only person that gets an opportunity to get in a pair of expensive shoes is who?
Ian.
There you go.
I just want to carry the Birkin. All right, thank you so much for
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so very much
for giving us this time, and whatever we can do on this platform, whatever you have going on, you're not part of the family where you've been, but you know what I mean, you're part of the show family. So make sure that you definitely hit us up. We will definitely do whatever we can. This will stay up on Facebook for 30 days, but it will be on YouTube forever. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that was great. I think that a lot of people should have been able to understand him a little better now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, I do. I definitely do. So I hope that they do also.
Definitely. I think it was very good about the background when he talked about the poverty situation, because it makes sense. He created this life so that he wouldn't have to think about how he was raised.
Yeah.
And no shame, we all have done that in certain aspects.
Creating facades is not abnormal, so it just made sense, and it made him make sense. So I appreciate it.
So to everyone that maybe was asking, why does he post? He said it's not to be malicious, it's not to be mean. He did admit and take accountability for his delivery. And so all we can do is just be a work in progress, right?
Exactly. And
Anything
we all
else?
are. No, that's it.
So thank y'all for tuning in. We will be on next Monday, not next Tuesday, but next week, with a great guest. She's been in the game a while now, and she's coming to chat with us. And we're going to be an hour early. Now I know that might work with you, but I'll call you and let you know why. But yeah, so we'll see y'all next Monday. I'm sorry, look at me telling y'all Monday and I'm saying Tuesday. Next Monday. So hopefully you'll tune in. Don't forget all the things that's going on this weekend. Empire, Baddest Bitch, New and Prince, Continental Prelim. If you're in South Carolina, come see the Peoples. If you're in Atlanta Monday, I'll be at the Stars of the Century, as well as Tuesday at the Mix for the 90s Big Girl Show. We appreciate all of your support. And thank you again.
Bye.
I'll call you when to answer your phone.
Okay.